Hello bookworms! It's been a while since I have made a video, but I thought that today would be a fun day to do something like a bookish kind of reset. Oh gosh, my night table is a little bit of a mess. The main reason that I wanted to make this is because we finally got the lighting fixtures changed out in our dining room and my library room. So now there's actual light in there, which is so nice. And instead of moving the light switch to the other side of the wall like that had been our plan, our electrician set up a system where I can use a remote control to turn the light on and off. So we built my final bookshelf. It is up against my wall and I just have to organize it, put things on it, and I'm really excited to do that. So I have like a couple of things that are on my docket today. I would say this is more of like a bookish reset versus a reading vlog because honestly, I just need to stay on task. So number one goal is definitely setting up the bookshelves. Number two is decorating the short bookshelves, like the tops of the short bookshelves. I got these really cute bookends and I have to build them, surprisingly. I thought they were gonna come like together, but they did not. So that's another thing. I also got a new Kindle that I want to set up and some like cases for it. So that'll be fun to do. I am currently reading Flawless by Elsie Silver, which is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. Really enjoying it so far, but I don't think I'm gonna get like a ton of reading in today. So Andrew and I just had breakfast and we're gonna go on a nice little walk now because it's supposed to rain later in the day. So like ideally I would have liked to get stuff done in the morning and then go for a walk later, but because of the weather, we're just gonna go for a walk now and then I'll get started on like getting everything done that we want to get done in this vlog. So yeah, I think that is everything and we'll just take you on our little walk right now. We are back home and we decided to go to one of our local restaurants and just get a quick drink after our walk. So I got a really delicious Aperol Spritz, which is like my favorite summer drink. Also, that noise is tea. I'm making myself tea right now, but it wasn't supposed to start raining until 3 o'clock. Right now it's like 1 o'clock and we literally like finished our drink and then got to the door to leave to walk home and it was pouring. So Andrew, being the best husband ever, he ran home alone and got the car and then came back and picked me up so that I didn't have to get completely soaked like walking home in the rain, which was so nice of him. So I'm very thankful for that. But now we're back. I am going to start doing my bookshelves, which I'm really excited about once my tea finishes brewing over there. I can't remember if I've shown this, but the sunroom is my favorite room in the house. So I think I'm gonna just sit down and take a little break and read more of Flawless by Elsie Silver. I started reading a chapter when Andrew was driving over to pick me up from the restaurant, so I will finish that chapter now. Made a little afternoon snack. I'm sitting up here on my floor for now. I actually also have a chair to build to put in this room so that I can sit and read, which will be really nice. But I have my empty bookshelf right in front of me, although I did put like a couple things on it already because I made an Elsie Silver shelf and a little Emily Henry shelf, but I could fit more on Emily's shelf, so that's good. And then I was just bringing books upstairs that I got in the mail. So one of them that I wanted to point out is I got Retreat by Kristen Ritter because my book club is going to be reading this for the month of May, my in-person book club. The library like wait is like a couple of months long, so I got a physical copy so that I could read it and be ready for that. But I'll show you my empty shelf. I'm probably gonna like listen to some booktube videos while I am organizing everything, and then I think I'll probably give you like a quick tour of the room. I had planned to do a dedicated video, but things have changed a lot since I started filming that because I literally started 6 months ago and I've rearranged things so many times already, and I've just been waiting for this last shelf, and now that I have it I can finally finish, and I feel like it just makes sense to like do it in here instead of making it a whole thing. So that's what we're gonna do. This is my empty shelf that already has some books on it, but I basically have to organize this one and the one next to it in order to make it like what I want. And then I also brought my tea upstairs here, which is on the floor next to me. Okay, I did a lot of my shelves. I still have space on them, which is really exciting because that means that I can get more books. I'll give you like a tour once I'm actually done. Right now I'm gonna work on doing some like decorating around here, and the first thing that I'm doing is I want to build these bookends that I got, these rainbow bookends. I think they're really cute. I don't know why they didn't just come assembled, but instead they came in pieces. So that is the project for right now. I think it looks fairly straightforward. It's mostly just like screwing things together, so it shouldn't be bad. But I figured that, oh, it's upside down. No wonder it doesn't make sense. But I figured while I'm doing this, I'll just talk to you about some general bookish things, like kind of what I've been up to since I last posted a video, which was a while ago, because I feel like I did a total 180 on my reading year. I was like so focused on high fantasy, and then it was just like putting me into a slump. And while I felt good about completing things, it was just like taking so long. And like honestly, the one that put me in the worst slump was Dragonbone Chair, which I didn't even finish. I think I'm at like 85%, and I've been there since like the beginning of March, and I'm just like, I have no desire to pick it back up. So I've mostly just been reading romance and thrillers, and it's been really working out for me. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And also literary fiction and like women's fiction, I've been like sneaking more of that in as well. And yeah, I'm just like having kind of a blast with that. So that's what I've been reading. Let's get these pieces, because it's hard for me to like focus on doing this and talk at the same time, but we'll do it. All right, so you are an A piece and you are a B piece. So I think you just go like that, and then do I literally just screw these two things in? I think I do. Okay, it's very simple. So anyway, another thing that I was gonna tell you that I'm really excited about is that I joined in IRL book club. I went to my first meeting last month, and I had a really, oh, I think I'm supposed to put a washer on before I screw this together. I had a really great time. I was actually like kind of nervous because you just never know like what it's gonna be like. And after talking to some other people, they were all like, oh, I'm so glad that you had a good like first experience with a book club in person, because sometimes they can be like not the best, not the most inviting. So I'm really glad that I like totally clicked with the girls that I met up with, and yeah, really excited to see them all again next month. And then the other thing about book club is that I like that they actually read 2 books a month instead of 1 book. So they do 1 romance and 1 thriller, which is like honestly perfect. But I have to wait until like right before book club to read the books usually because I don't want to forget everything that was going on in them. So the books that we read last month were, well, okay, so the books that they read last month were The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, which I read that when it came out. So I was like, you know what? I also have read a lot of Ali Hazelwood lately, and I was like, I just don't really feel like rereading that, so I'm just gonna like hope that I remember enough of it to talk about it, and I did. It was fine, so that was good. Because that, honestly, that was her first book, and it's still one of my favorite books of hers. It seems like a lot of people like struggle with it because of the science, and that's like part of why I like it so much. So it's always so funny to me when that's like the complaint about why someone doesn't like it, because I'm like, that's why I like it. The other thing that I was gonna say, the other book that we read was The Return of Ellie Black by Emiko Jean. And I have been wanting to read one of her books. I hadn't read any of them before. She wrote like Tokyo Ever After, which I thought looked pretty cute. It's kind of like, I think it reads like YA contemporary, but it has like a fantasy twist because the main character finds out that she's like a princess of Japan or something. But it looks cute, but I just, you know, never read it. So this was her first adult thriller, and it was so good. Like, I really enjoyed it. I was not expecting to like it anywhere near as much as I did, but I thought it was really great, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. So if you are in the market for a good thriller, that is definitely one to check out. It follows this girl who goes missing. It's called, did I say that? I think I said it. Yeah, The Return of Ellie Black. So it follows this girl who goes missing, and you get so many different perspectives in the book, which is also fun. I like that it is like not just one person that you're following. She was kind of like a rebellious teenager, and then she went out, she was having like a party one night at a hotel or motel or whatever, and it was pretty much just because she really wanted to get a new cell phone and her parents wouldn't let her get one. So she was like, all right, then I'm gonna throw a party at a hotel and I will charge everyone admission, and then I'll use my like earnings to buy my own new phone. So she is at her party, and then she goes missing and no one ever sees her again. No one knows where she's gone, but as you read the book, you do get her point of view, starting with the night that she went missing, or starting like right before. So you, by the end of the book, find out like everything that happened. So the book begins with these hikers that are out, and Ellie Black just appears like on this hiking trail, and she says that she's like lost. So they call the police. They realize that she is this girl that's been missing for like 2 years, and the lead detective on the case, her sister went missing when she was younger, and it was like a very defining part of her childhood. So she feels like extremely passionately about this case, and she's also been in contact with Ellie's parents for so long about the case, and has like just been very invested in like finding her. So that was also a really fun perspective to learn. But I think part of why I enjoyed it so much was just because I loved the overall message of the book, which I obviously can't tell you what it was without totally spoiling it for you, so I won't do that. But I thought it was so great, like really one of the best thrillers that I've read in a long time. So highly recommend that one. Actually, we're just about done building these. Yeah, there we go. Okay, these are so cute. I'm obsessed. I'm so glad that I got these. Honestly, I have so much space in this room for books, which is really exciting, that I don't even know what I'm gonna put in between these, but we'll see. All right, yeah, our book for next month I showed you before, Retreat by Kristen Ritter, and then we're also going to be reading Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which I already read. I read it the day that it came out, and it was actually really funny because we were trying to pick a book and they were like, oh, didn't Emily Henry come out with a new book? And I was like, oh yeah, it's so good, it came out on Tuesday. And they were like, you read it already? Because it had only come out like a couple days before. And I was like, yes. I really loved it. I know like this one's getting very mixed reviews, but it worked very well for me and I'm so excited to talk about it next month. I remember it so vividly, so it doesn't even matter that I read that one like at the beginning of the month. I'm ready to talk about that, and I feel like it's also because I've had like multiple friends who have read it, so I have all of these group chats going where we've been talking about it forever, and I've also created like an entire Taylor Swift playlist that is just based on Great Big Beautiful Life, so I feel like it just like hit really hard and I loved it. I thought it was amazing, 5 stars. And I tried to do like an Emily Henry ranking, which I posted on Instagram. I'll put like the graphic here, but it's really hard because I feel like Beach Read is my favorite, but they're all so good that it's hard to like rank. The only ones that I like can definitively say, I think, are Beach Read is number 1 and People We Meet on Vacation is the bottom for me. Happy Place is like second from the bottom, but then Book Lovers, Funny Story, and Great Big Beautiful Life, all 3 of those like I love so much, so I feel like they're all like tied for second. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my ranking like changes here and there. What I really want to do is reread all of Emily Henry's books and then do like another ranking because I'll have read them close together, so that might be like a summer kind of thing since her books are just great beach reads. But yeah, okay, so we're done building those. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more like decorating around here and then I will check in again. All right, I think the time has come to give you a little tour of my library, which I'm really excited about. It's not 100% like complete. I'm sure that I'll continue to move things around constantly, but I'm really happy with the way that it looks right now. There are still a couple of things I have to do, like get frames for some things. I do have another vase on the way that I want to use for some flowers. Starting off here, I just like hung this extra ivy that I had on the door, but what I actually want to do is get rid of this and get some stencils and like paint flowers on the door. I think that would be really pretty. So that's the plan there. And then this is like a pan, just like walking into my room so you can see what it looks like from all angles, and I will go like a little bit more in depth. I have a little Jellycat dragon, he's kind of big, and then I have a shelf of adult, contemporary, and nonfiction reads. On the right side I have some Ellen Hildebrand, but I think what I actually want to do is I want to make an Ellen Hildebrand shelf. This is more like thriller, kind of gothic, weird reads. Then I've got some like witchy reads and some classics. We've got Greek mythology. We've got the Red Rising series. Then we have the Bound and the Broken series and some Brandon Sanderson books. Then we have like a couple of witchy books and some Taylor Swift tour books. Then we have more adult fiction and nonfiction, and I'm really glad that I have more space on the shelf. And then one of my new favorite shelves, I actually made like a Taylor Swift shelf. So this is just full of Taylor Swift books that I have, some records. I have like all of the Lover ones and 1989, and the print that I got for going to the Eras tour in the movie theater, and some more tour books. This is what I call like my pretty writing shelf. So everything on here I feel like is just written very beautifully. Then moving down, we've got the Broken Binding editions of The Bone Season, and actually I'm going to unhaul the Hurricane Wars and A Monsoon Rising, so I have to take those off, but they do look pretty nice there. Maybe I'll give them another shot and see if I actually read them. And I have some Name of the Wind. Then below that we have Game of Thrones. Then we have another shelf that is not completely full. I have the Arcane Society Fever series, which I need to continue. The first book was like kind of funny, but they're also like fun, so I'm looking forward to reading more of those. Coming up here, we've got more Game of Thrones. Then we have a Robin Hobb shelf. I have another shelf of adults, contemporary, and nonfiction. These are all TBR books. Again, really glad that I still have more space. Then I have like a dark academia kind of shelf. Then we've got my Fourth Wing and Vampire Academy and Diviners shelf. This is all like YA fantasy that I really like. We've got the Brandon Sanderson Leatherbounds, followed by the Michael J. Sullivan Leatherbounds for all of the Elon books, some fairy tales, and then I have paperbacks of all of Sarah J Maas's books, as well as I think it's the Illumicrate editions of Infernal Devices. More Sarah J Maas books. These ones are the Nerdy Ink covers and the collector's editions and the Crescent City tour editions, which they didn't do one for the third book, which is really annoying. Then I have more YA fantasy that I love. So we've got a lot of editions of The Cruel Prince. Then moving down, we have more YA fantasies. I have 3 different editions of The Rose Bargain, which ended up being one of my new favorite books of the year. Really loved it. Really excited to read the next one when it comes out. Adult fantasy, so we have Joe Abercrombie, the Greenbone Saga, which is one of my favorites, the Strange the Dreamer duology. We've got one set of Lord of the Rings, which I moved the rest of my Lord of the Rings books out to its own bookshelf. I'm obsessed with this rug. It's Rifle Paper Co. and I love it so much. It's like my favorite thing, and it makes this room so cheery. I have a box of just like book sleeves, so anytime I'm reading a physical book, which is not often, I usually read my Kindle, I can grab one from there. On the top here, I have faux tulips, which those I'm going to put in a vase, and this is what I need to get some frames for. These are all like Taylor Swift prints that I think are really cute, but I'll probably show them to you once I actually have them in frames. I'm kind of thinking I might lean them against the wall of my other shelves because my house is built in 1891. The walls are made of plaster. I've not figured out how to hang things on it just yet, so I'm kind of cheating by just like leaning them, which you'll see. But anyway, then we have like a YA fantasy shelf and adult like cozy fantasy. Then I have a shelf that is pretty much all Victoria Schwab minus the Anna Dressed in Blood duology. And then we have more YA type fantasies. This is what I mean, like, so these are just leaning against the wall, but these are both Taylor Swift prints that I love so much. I wish that this artist would do more of these because I would buy them all. I know that they did one for Willow, and I'm definitely gonna get that too, but I wish that they would do some other songs. This is just all Cassandra Clare Shadowhunter books. Same thing goes for the second shelf, and then same thing. The third shelf is all Cassandra Clare minus on the right, I just stuck Lilac Library's Serpent in the Wings of Night books, which are really pretty, but to be honest, I loved the first book and I didn't really care for the second book, so deciding what I want to do with that. Some faux flowers. Then I have a shelf of classics, so it's like mostly Shakespeare and Penguin cloth-bound classic. More classics and kind of like nature-focused things, and then the bottom shelf is empty, so we've got more space there. Then we have more faux flowers, another little Jellycat fox, and then just like a photo of me with 2 of my best friends. Then we have some paperback adults, sci-fi and fantasy, and The Stand randomly. Then we have a sci-fi shelf, minus Red Rising of course, Folio Society editions of Game of Thrones, and duplicate editions of Name of the Wind, and then The Magicians. Then over here, which is kind of hard to see with the window, so sorry about that, I have my TBR cards. So these are books that I need to read. This is what I'm calling my nostalgia shelf. So this is like Goosebumps books, all of the Vampire Academy paperbacks. Then we have more Sarah J Maas, the like original hardcovers. We have like childhood books, so like classics. We've got like Anne of Green Gables, we've got Harry Potter, we've got Grimm's Fairy Tales, we've got another Harry Potter shelf, and also Chronicles of Narnia. Then we have Keeper of the Lost Cities and Fablehaven, blocked a little bit by this cowboy boot pillow. We have Twilight, and we have Hunger Games. This is, on the left is the last shelf that I finally like added. So first up, I put those there for now, but I know they're gonna move because this is going to be a Catherine Cole's shelf. So I know I'm gonna like get more of her books, and that's gonna probably fill up pretty quickly. Then I have a 99% Elsie Silver shelf, but I also did put Lila Sage's Rebel Blue Ranch series on there because it's also cowboy romances. Then I have an Emily Henry shelf, and on the left I also have any hardcover romances that I've gotten. Then I have all Afterlight editions and the Owl Crate edition of First Time Caller. I'm kind of like on the fence about whether I want to keep all of these. I might end up selling some of them at some point, because I think I generally do just prefer the paperbacks when it comes to romances. And then I have another shelf of Afterlight books, an empty shelf, which means future book hauls. I decided to do these in rainbow order. So even though some of these are like companions in series, I still decided that it would be fun to just like split them up. I think it looks nice. So these are all of my like red, pink, and orange, and the beginning of yellow. We've got yellow, green, and blue. Then we've got blue, purple, white, black, and a random gold book. Then this is mostly empty, but we have more off-campus books, and I have Binding 13, which I haven't read yet, but people like rave about that series, so I would like to read that soon. Then I have YA contemporary books, as well as the Bridgerton series in their new form, and some fairy loot romances. We've got Barnes & Noble Classics books. So that is the library. Oh, my battery is flashing, so I'm really glad that I was able to get that all in before this died. I think I'm kind of like losing some steam, so I'm not going to be setting up my Kindle today. I think I'm gonna do some journaling, and maybe I'll start a new puzzle, which is always fun. But I think that this is where I'm gonna call it, because this ended up being a little bit longer than I anticipated anyway. So thank you for hanging out for a little while I got some stuff done today, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Bye.